Michael and Leah would like to demonstrate to all of you tonight how to plant a giant pumpkin. Several years ago, Leah and I decided to grow giant pumpkins with our children. We thought it would be fun. We had watched several videos and it looked like an exciting and fun thing to do. So this evening we're going to show you how to plant a giant pumpkin. This particular plant that we have this evening was started with a seed from one of our pumpkins last year. The pumpkin that this seed came from happened to be a 1,300-pound pumpkin, and we're going to hopefully match that this coming year.
So when you're ready to plant your seeds, the first and most important thing to do before you plant the seed is to prepare the seed. And to do that, you would take a nail file and you would gently file the edges of the seed, and you file the top portion that's wider, and that will help it to erupt from the seed coat when it's time for it to germinate. So after you file the seed, you're going to take a paper towel and you're going to moisten it with some water that has Miracle-Gro in it. You're just going to fold up the seed into that moist paper towel and put it in a very warm place, about 80 degrees. If you have a seed mat, it's perfect to heat the seed up on, or you could even stick it on top of your refrigerator where it's usually about that temperature. So the next day, you're going to take that seed out of the paper towel and you're going to plant it in a sterile seed medium, like a potting soil or a seed starting mix. And you're going to just make a little hole in the center, and you're going to put the seed in with the wider part facing upward, and you're going to plant it about 1 inch down and then gently cover it with the soil. After you do that, you want to cover the container with plastic wrap and put it back on the mat that keeps the seeds warm. And each day you want to make sure that the soil is just moist enough. It can't be soaking wet or your seed will rot, but it has to be moist enough to help the seed to erupt. So you'll find it usually takes about 3 to 4 days for the seed to erupt and for you to be able to see a little tiny bit of green at the top. And about 5 or 6 days later, you'll notice that the seed coat is still attached to the seed, and you'll be tempted to want to pull that off, but you just have to let it be and just sit there, and as the days go on, it will come off by itself. So you never know what kind of weather you're going to get in the spring, and this year we started some seeds a little bit earlier than last year, hoping to get a jump on the season. Unfortunately, we started them too early and transplanted them outside, and we had some frosty nights and we lost the first plants. So it's good if you're really determined to have a huge pumpkin plant. You might want to have a number of seeds and start them 1 or 2 every week, just to have extra ones on standby in case something unforeseen happens to the first ones that you plant. So after the seed erupts, and you'll see 2 leaves coming up, 1 on either side, and then a 3rd real true leaf will come up on one side or the other. Once it gets to the point where you have that 3rd leaf coming up, you want to transplant your pumpkin into a larger pot. So the bigger the pot, the more room it has to grow. And hopefully within a week or 2 of transplanting it into that big pot, your weather will be warm enough to actually plant it outside, as long as you have some kind of a protective covering to put over it at night in case it gets chilly.
For example, we built these coverings out of 2x2s. We just made a square that was roughly 24 by 24 by 24, and we covered it with plastic, and we use this to cover them at night. And then when the plant gets really big, and we cut the plastic off the top. And it's very important when in a low-lying area to have a barricade for the wind, because the wind will break the leaves and so you want until they get secure to and they start growing. So once you've established the garden, it's all rototilled, you're going to pick the specific spot where you're going to plant the plant. Now that's what I'd like to show now. This particular spot, this is where we're going to plant the first plant. And as you can see, the soil is very fluffy. And we're going to take this plant right here, and I want to show you the first true leaf is this one right here. When you plant the plant, you want the plant to grow in the opposite direction of the first true leaf. So the plant is going to grow in the exact opposite direction, 180 degrees. So we're going to pick this up. So this plant is going to grow in that direction. Here's the first true leaf.
This is called MycoBloom, which is a type of a fungus, and it helps the root system of a plant to be very strong, and it helps the plant to root deeper. So it's one of the things that you can add to the plant to make it even healthier as it grows.
So we're going to dump a little bit in. And now I'm going to backfill the plant. And we can mound it up. Here's a seed from last year. Now you'd think these plants look beautiful now, and you have to maintain that beauty by using the proper fungicide, insecticide, and one of the primary chemicals that we use it's called Warrior. It's very powerful, and it'll take care of most of your pests. Just to remember, growing giant pumpkins is not for the faint-hearted, but it involves a lot of time and energy, but there's a lot of rewards to it. Just remember, it's something fun that you can do as a family to plant the pumpkins and see the giant pumpkins start growing. Thank you for watching.